Well, in this next episode of Connected Insights, our deeper dives into the Manx Telecom group, I'm delighted to be joined by our Chief Executive Officer, Gary Lamb. Gary, welcome to Connected Insights.
Hi, Gav.
Gary, you and I, both growing up around technology, now a big part of our working lives. For you, it goes quite a way back. No offence. Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, it does go a long way back. I've always tried to be involved in technology companies. I love the idea of being able to go and touch and feel the technology. And something that really has a big impact on our lives. Started off in a business that printed Trivial Pursuit cards, then moved on to metallized film. So imagine crisp packets, when they first came out in the sort of the foil-like container. I've done micro turbines, I've done water boiling control, so kettles, filtration, and at the moment, technology is telecoms.
In all aspects of technology and our working and living lives, Gary, the consciousness around what is our impact on the environment, vice versa, what is the impact on our people in our working lives, home lives, is becoming increasingly more important. How have you seen that change, and why is it important to you?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen huge change, just in Manx Telecom in the last 3 or 4 years. We've very much been a sort of a company focused on the sort of the governance and the social part of ESG. But actually in the last 3 or 4 years, we've really, really focused on sustainability and that whole green agenda. We've all got a responsibility to do the right thing for our planet. And as a company and as part of this community, we've a whole bunch of initiatives to try and do our bit to make sure that, we're as green as we can be, and a plan to get to, carbon neutral at some point in the future.
Gary, you mentioned ESG. This is an acronym that is more commonplace now. Environmental and social governance. It's quite broad, actually. At Manx Telecom Group, we adopt the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals framework. Yeah. Just to help people understand, what does that actually translate into day to day? We'll run through a few of the examples, like saying those last few years, particularly since COVID. What would be one of the ones that really stands out for you?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I could just take us a little bit further up or back, if you like. So let's go back to, why ESG? Well, actually, our shareholders, they're really focused on ESG and all of their portfolio companies. So this is not just, what Manx Telecom is focused on doing. This is coming right from the top. And so, we have KPIs that measure our ESG credentials that we measure on a regular basis. Our carbon footprint, we know what that is. We know where we need to focus. The biggest element of our carbon footprint is energy supply. So we supply by energy that's generated from gas. And we spent some time actually lobbying and trying to get us in a position where we can buy green energy on the island. That will have a huge impact on our carbon footprint. Great for us, but also great for our customers. Again, we need to be responsible. We need to be able to sell and deliver carbon neutral products and services to those customers. Next thing maybe on the list is, in these headquarters here, we've got solar panels, which is a new thing for us, just been finished. They're going to generate 25% of our energy in this building. Which is fantastic, and it's a little part of what we can do to help reduce, again, our carbon footprint. What else are we doing? We've got electric vehicles. We've got electric charging points that we let our people use. We're trying to encourage our people here to get electric vehicles, and also just think about our planet and our carbon footprint. And we do other things like we go and plant trees, and we do stuff with the Woodland Trust and Manx Wildlife Trust, where we again can actively take part in putting trees in and doing some great work around the environment that we live in.
And you mentioned there, we're accountable by KPIs. It's not just do the right thing, it's measurably do the right thing. So in terms of our carbon footprint, you mentioned earlier there, and our new solar panels on the roof, I was showing something the other day, a little app that tells us exactly what those solar panels are doing for us in terms of tons of CO2 saved, how much we can draw from the solar panels versus the grid. That's just fascinating, right?
Technology. It's fantastic, isn't it? Now, what you can measure and what you can see now is just wonderful. I've seen those apps and they're great. We can measure how much energy we're actually generating from those solar panels, and so we can measure it. And we talk about KPIs. if you can measure it, then you can set yourself targets, and we can continually improve. Which is what we do. That we do that in the business environment in terms of trading and performance. Well, we're doing that now around our ESG credentials. We have targets that we need to deliver if we're going to hit that carbon neutral target.
I was talking with Mike Bathard in another episode, Gary, about eSIMs,
Yep.
which is one example of where we're reducing our use of plastic, or our contribution to use of plastic. We've also got around this building here and our other buildings a number of different recycling points as well. Is that part of this new kind of move towards every little thing we can look at where we can save, reduce, recycle?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and different things have different levels of impact. But for me, a lot of this is about mindset. We need people and our people to think about the environment. And so what might seem like a very little thing, recycling. I remember when that was introduced, I was one of those that walked in the office and said, well, where's my bin gone? Where do I put my rubbish? But you soon get used to the fact you go to a central point and you actually separate your rubbish and we recycle. And again, it's changing the psyche and the mindset of everybody so that we think about the planet and think about how we're going to do the best thing we can for the planet. It's these little things are important, but it's all about, for me, it's about getting that mindset.
And in terms of what our customers can actually feel in terms of part of that shift from within Manx Telecom, it's increasingly more digital engagement. So the likes of getting an e-bill rather than a paper bill.
Yeah. I went completely paperless about 4 or 5 years ago. I avoid paper like the plague. COVID was a great example of how you can stop using paper. When things like that happen, we need to carry on with the change, the fact that we don't use paper and go fully digital. So within the company, we're trying to move from issuing paper bills, because it's all part of that ESG program and doing the best we can for the planet. Encourage people to go on e-bill. So that is going to be part of our strategy going forward. As many digital solutions we can provide as possible to our customers and only do good for our planet.
Okay, and you mentioned earlier this is driven by our owners at the very top, but within the business day to day, there's a group of people who coordinate all of these activities within the group.
Yeah, we've got an ESG committee. We meet every month. We talk about where we are with the various initiatives. We think about other things we can do. Every little bit counts. So we keep pushing and driving to do everything that we can to do the best we can for our environment.
Now, Gary, it sounds as if we've got the environmental side of ESG very well covered. Just turn to the social aspects of it. As a business, we connect people with technology, but connecting people socially is also a big part of the agenda.
Yeah, and we've been doing this for a long time, and actually way before we even started to get really serious on the environmental side. So, the S in ESG, the social bit, it's about our responsibility as a community employer. We see ourselves as a community company. We sponsor things like the Parish Walk, a fantastic event, the Royal Manx Show, FC Isle of Man, but we also sponsor lots of other charities across the island and across our other subsidiaries within the group. We do some great things to support, our community and the whole social side, because that's really, really important. We have to be a responsible employer.
In other episodes of Connected Insights, we'll introduce and meet some of those other business units as part of the group that you mentioned, so more detail on those to follow. And then turning lastly to governance, you mentioned earlier our owners drive this agenda. Just give us a little bit more insight around that governance.
Yeah, we've been very strong on governance for many, many years. We actually listed back in 2014 as a group. When you're a listed company, your governance needs to be, particularly strong. So we've worked in an environment where, governance is very, very important and high on the agenda. And it will always continue to be very high. People need to, understand and see that, we do everything appropriately. We have very strong governance around the business, and that will always be the case.
Gary, we've talked about physical things, impact on the environment, the wider community. Of course, the people that make Manx Telecom work are the people within it. How does environmental, social and governance extend to them in terms of their well-being and their mental health in the workplace?
Yeah, we've always tried to do everything and the best we can for all our employees. It might sound a bit cheesy, but, the employees here are our biggest asset in the company. We like to care and do everything we can for them. And one example is, in the context of what's happened with COVID and the challenges for many of us in terms of mental health, we took a decision to put a whole bunch of our management population through first aid mental health training. The idea is that it's a 2-day course, and those individuals, they can see where there might be challenges with some of our people's mental health. Again, in the context of we've all had a pretty tough time over recent years. We think that's a really important thing to do. We want our people to be well. When they're not well, we do everything we can to support them. Because it's important we do that and we care about all their well-being. So that's part of an overall sort of well-being program that we have here at Manx Telecom, to try and keep our people in the best mental and well-being health, if you like, that we possibly can.
And Gary, I was one of those managers who took part in that 2-day course, and 2 days seemed like quite a long period, but we all came away feeling completely enthralled really by what we learned in there and how it could make a difference to our teams. And now it goes way beyond just that management population who received that training. We've now got a committee within the business who are driving that further.
Yeah, I mean, like any of these things, we try to roll it across the company as widely as we can. We have a well-being group, very much like we have an ESG group, so that we can make sure that we do the best for everybody across the company. It's a very important part of what we do, the whole well-being and mental health agenda. We want everybody to benefit from everything we can do to try and support them. And that's something we will continue to do as an organisation.
Well, Gary, thank you for your time today and sharing all the things that are happening within the Manx Telecom Group around ESG. And thank you for watching this episode of Connected Insights. If you'd like to find out more, you can, of course, follow us on LinkedIn. And to find out more about our ESG programme, you can go to mt.im/ESG. Thanks for watching and see you soon. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.